Ladies and gentlemen, 49 coming at you another community shoutcast for the OUSA Dota League Season 1. Just loading into a best of 2 series, game number 1 of Team Recursion up against 2IP. This is actually a grudge match, as earlier 2IP and Recursion were originally supposed to play a few days earlier, but Recursion couldn't make it, and there were accusations that the captain hadn't organised it properly, so it didn't count as a forfeit. So now we're loading in to the proper best of 2 series. So joining me will be the carry player from Team Bambi Rising, Ghoulie. Ghoulie, you there, man? Okay, he might still be loading in at any rate. So we've got Yoda, captain over for Team 2IP. They actually have a stand-in, Jamie from Team Horsemen of the Ruckus. He's been a bit cheeky and changed the name over to the 4 Horsemen of the Ruckus, but there still is 2IP playing.
Team Ben.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you. How you doing, Ghoulie?
Oh, I keep forgetting about that damn open mic.
Yeah, every single time, huh?
Yep.
I have to turn it off every time I play Dota, so people don't hear me with the mic constantly on, so it's something I have to remind myself to do.
Creepy breathing down the mic that always
yeah.
annoys people.
Don't want to get muted before the game even begins. So Ember Spirit ban coming out from 2IP, very standard for them. They don't want to play against. I don't think one of their players is confident enough to be able to go for the Ember Spirit, and so they decide just to ban him out.
5 seconds remaining.
Recursion taking their time with their first ban. I guess they're considering the fact they're going for a Lifestealer first ban, so one of Wolfgun's best heroes, so immediate respect ban for 2IP. Horseman of the Ruckus countering with the Invoker ban.
Dire team ban.
Thundercant does play a pretty effective Invoker. He did play it up against, going up against Doombringer, who has been played by 5200. Was actually severely out CS by Doombringer, which I found very surprising. And in the end was too underfarmed and underexpected level to really create as much impact as he would have wanted.
5 seconds remaining.
So second ban coming up.
Reserve time.
Oh, so second ban coming up from Recursion, dipping into the reserve time. You were saying, Ghoulie?
Oh, going into this for 2IP, having played them a bit earlier, we saw that they were a little bit more creative on their drafts. You know, a little bit old school. So it'll be interesting to see whether they've learned from their mistakes or whether they've come up with something new.
Yeah, they're a team that like to go for very unconventional lanes and hero choices. They picked up an Axe in their series against See and Believe. I think it was a dual lane Axe with the Lich, and they were able to create a lot of impact with him. And they went for the next game. They had a tri-lane Clockwork, so utilizing the telekinetic lift from the Rubik to ensure that you get 2-3 cogs popping off at once. And Clockwork ban coming out. Lycanthrope first picked up. Wolfgun's one of his best heroes. He seems to enjoy playing strength carries as opposed to agility ones. So Recursion know that the tri-lane's farmer has already been picked up. So they could go for the Naga Siren pickup. Excellent counter to the Lycanthrope because he had the 5-second snare to lock him in place. It keeps him pinned down during his shapeshift form. BKB doesn't do a thing against it either. So really effective counter pick to the Lycanthrope. We've actually got a disconnect coming out from one of the players. Looks like Wolfgun's disconnected. Could be a few issues over in his end. And so Disruptor and Nature's Prophet, just going to quickly log out of Steam while I'm at it.
I'll do the same.
So Recursion going for that split push, recognizing that they can't really clash 5v5 with Lycan Deathball as he comes online very quickly as a carry and especially as a pusher. And so following up with a Dazzle, I think it was Muel who played a fantastic Dazzle in their last game against Bambi Rising in game number 2. He was very active around the map. Unfortunately, the golden EXP lead from Bambi Rising coupled with a few disastrous engagements in the mid game turns out to be a bit too much. So Naga Siren ban coming out to prevent Recursion from using Naga Siren as a secondary support hero. They shut down Wolfgun. Bit surprising they chose to go for the Disruptor as well as the Nature's Prophet. They could have gone Nature's Prophet, Naga Siren, then picked up Disruptor as the third pickup.
10 seconds remaining.
But all in all, very strong aggressive tri-lane coming up from Recursion.
5
with the
seconds
Disruptor
remaining.
glimpse to be able to catch people out of position. Centaur Warrior instantly banned out. Very powerful offlane hero. Mujarim over on Bambi Rising plays him to great effect. Able to consistently land 2 3-man hoof stomps whenever he blinks in. Likes to go for the 4-staff to counteract the Clockwork.
It's just one of those heroes that always seem to manage to pick up the farm.
10 seconds remaining.
Does it, but
yeah, it's because
20 minutes and he always has his
he's just so difficult to lane against. It's because you can't trade hits on him 1v1 because of return. If you're a melee hero, he can just walk up to your face, double edge you, then back away since he's got the tranquil boots to sustain himself. And you've
a weak
always...
neutral camp as well. If he drops his tranquil boots before he uses his edge, it doesn't deactivate them.
Dire team pick.
And
Another wee
since...
trick.
Yeah, so a lot of Centaur Warrunner players actually drop their Tranquil Boots whenever they go in for CS and then quickly pick it up afterwards. Since Tranquil Boots breaks on you taking damage or you dealing right clicks, it doesn't break on spell usage though. So that's one of the things that you can do. Bounty Hunter banned out. Very strange ban coming up from Recursions. Bounty Hunter hasn't been at all effective so far in the ODR1. I think he's been picked up once or twice in either game. Didn't really create much impact for his team, so a bit of a strange offlane ban. Would have liked to see something like a Timbersaw banned out instead.
Remaining.
And so Ancient Apparition banned out for Horseman of the Rock because they don't want to deal with the Tri-Lane power as well as the Ice Blast. Especially considering the fact that 2IP they were, had enough of eating Victor's Ice Blast in game number 2 as Bambi the Retarded Chiyu consistently on point, able to land 2 huge 3-4 man Ice Blasts that really turned the fight.
Radiant team pick.
Darkseer picked up, so they've got the Nature's Prophet as well as the Darkseer, so it could even be a really greedy jungling Nature's Prophet, or it could be a mid Nature's Prophet with an offlane Darkseer. Very interesting pickups coming up from Recursion. We'll see how the Horsemen of the Ruckus respond to this. What are your thoughts on the Darkseer pickup?
I really like the Darkseer. I mean, it stops that push. Against Dazzle it won't be as effective.
10 seconds
because of the
remaining.
heal. But I mean, especially with the Disruptor, you've got
5 seconds
one
remaining.
combo if you can suck into the static field.
That's true.
Dire team
So
pick.
we've got Sandking drafted as the secondary support hero. That's one of Rafiki's best heroes. So he's standing in, currently named Egyptian Slut. That's because turns out Yoda and Wolfcon actually live on Hyde Street just up the road from me and Jamie. So the theme for their Hyde Street cake party is King Tut and Egyptian Sluts. And so the two of them showing off their theme. Recursion dipping in for their first pick. You do have a good point, especially with the vacuum into the kinetic field static storm. If you could catch 3 heroes out with that, you've got them silenced up, caught at a position, locked in place, and Luna, Crash's best carry hero.
Radiant
Very
team
surprised
pick.
Horseman of the Ruckus didn't ban that out, as Luna, especially if they go for an aggressive tri-lane, which it looks like they're going to be doing, a much better laning presence than the Lycanthrope. All he could really do is howl and right-click you. His wolves are nice, especially if you get the body blocks off, but he doesn't have the same amount of presence that Luna has. You've got the Luna Blessing providing damage for his support heroes, as well as the Lucent Beam, 800 range. You can use it at the start of a gank and then use it to finish people off as they're running away. Crash does play a fantastic Luna, so 2IP, have to watch out for that. Wolfcunt's disconnected once again. Looks like they're having a lot of issues with internet on their end.
Reserve time.
Was Wolf the Tiebreaker player when we played against them? I can't even remember.
Oh no, I think that was Thundercunt, but I think he must have been over at Yoda's house or something because he kept disconnecting as well. So looks like Yoda's flat having a few issues with the internet. So dipping into their reserve time for their 4th pick. Neither team really has been using all too much of their reserve time. They've been pretty quick with the picks and bans. And so they haven't drafted their offlaner or their mid. Looks like we've got a Timbersaw offlane, so that could be really punishing for the boys over in Recursion. Timbersaw against Darkseer. Darkseer actually does come out on top because you've got the Ion Shell harassment. But Timbersaw, once he gets at level 6, once he picks up his Arcane Boots, his ganking presence goes through the roof. He can just run around instantly blowing up all the heroes over on Recursion. Luna, if she doesn't pick up her BKB fast enough, is food for Timbersaw, as he's got that huge amount of burst damage coming out with the Max Willing Death build or the Max Timber Chain. Both builds seem fairly effective. Max Timber Chain provides you more consistent burst damage, but Maxing Willing Death provides you that immediate burst, just because you've got the potential of a 250 pure damage nuke. Follow up with the Chakram, that's usually a dead hero.
Timber's great for counter initiation with the, if Nature's Prophet's TPing in as well. You can chain to any of the trees that Nature's Prophet chucks up, and that's pretty quick damage.
Yeah, that's also true.
Right,
Sprout actually ensures that Timbersaw gets the trees clearing with the Whirling Death, so ensures that his Q always becomes pure damage. So he hates trees, Nature's Prophet makes trees. Looks like a grudge match already between those two.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
Outworld Destroyer banned out from Team Recursion. So it is going to be very interesting to see who goes mid for them, because they've got, it looks like a Nature's Prophet mid and an offlane Darkseer then. So mid Nature's Prophet does get shut down by a lot of other mid heroes. He does have 2 things in his favor, which is his 600 range and his excellent base attack. But outside of that, he doesn't really have any spells to control the lane. They've got Silencer pickup, so it could actually be a very greedy jungling Nature's Prophet, or it could be Nature's Prophet offlane up against the Timbersaw with a Darkseer jungling, just deciding to completely forego the offlane, and a Silencer mid. So it could be a dual lane coming up from Recursion with the Disruptor and the Luna. It'll be interesting to see how effective that is. Just because Nature's Prophet is incredibly vulnerable when he's jungling. Dazzle and Sandking, a great roaming duo coming out from them. You've got the long range Poison Touch to provide the snare, give Sandking the time to get him up close and personal, throw out his level 1, level 2 Burrow Strike, and then follow up with the right clicks.
5 seconds remaining.
Dazzle does hit like a truck, and he's got excellent range. That's one of the things you have to keep in mind.
Reserve time.
Dipping into their reserve time for their mid hero, they have to keep in mind they could be the Silencer or the Nature's Prophet, depending on how Recursion want to lane this. Although a tri-lane Silencer does lose a lot of his power. I know Arab King picked up Silencer as his 5th pickup when he was playing against you guys in game number 2 to counteract the Centaur Warrunner as well as the Storm Spirit Initiation. Was able to use that Global Silence to great effect as a counter initiation spell, since the instant he heard the Stampede popped, all he had to do is press R, catch you guys at a position then when you'd overcommitted, and then turn around and get a few cleanup kills.
Yeah, in this case all he's really got to stop is the Sandking, so if he gets initiated on by a Sandking it's going to be trouble really.
But that's something that makes it so difficult for Sandking is you can't channel your ult without silence. If he just presses R in the middle of a team fight, he can instantly cancel your ult channeling, and without Epicenter, Sandking loses a lot of his team fight presence. He still does have to Burrow Strike, which is probably one of the best AoE stuns of the game, just because it repositions Sandking as well. So it'll be interesting to see how well the standard Rafiki plays the Sandking. He knows that if he does feed, I'll be able to catch it on camera, I'll be able to hold it over him for months. So he's always got that threat in the back of his mind.
10 seconds remaining.
So really delivering for their mid pickup. It looks like they're going for a Storm Spirit. Very interesting pickup considering how effectively Silencer counters Storm Spirit in lane as well as in the mid game, unless the Storm Spirit gets a very fast BKB. So it looks like Yoda playing the Dazzle, switching places with Muel, who's playing the mid this time. 2IP like to switch their roles around a lot. So it's basically each of the players has a fairly diverse range of heroes they can play and a variety of different roles. And so just going to introduce the players from both teams. Yoda, King Tut, captain for 2IP, up on the Dazzle. Thundercunt, the offlane player this game, over in the Timbersaw. Muel looks like he's going mid over the Storm Spirit. Wolfcunt, their carry player, over on the Lycan, one of his best heroes. And their stand-in, Jamie, my flatmate, in his room at the moment, playing the Sandking, his favorite support hero. Crash on the signature carry, the Luna. Starting with the Stout Shield, so he's going for that Poor Man Shield build again. Very inefficient build for Luna. I don't know why people keep doing this, but you shouldn't. Just go for a Basilius into a Keeler, or just use that money to get your treads up faster, get your earlier Midas. Regnad over on the Disruptor, supporting the Luna. Looks like Drew's man, captain for the team. Over as the Darkseer, looks like he's going to the offlane. Mid Silencer, Arab King, he's been doing that role in the past. And yeah, well, looks like we've got a very greedy Nature's Prophet build. Surgical going into the jungle Nature's Prophet. We'll see if the 2IP are able to punish this, as they're a team that like to play very aggressive early on and capitalize on the advantage they get from those early ganks. And so this could turn out to be a point over in their favor. However, if they don't capitalize and gank the Nature's Prophet, Recursion then have a huge amount of late game potential with both the Luna, who's able to get an incredible amount of farm with the Glaives, as well as Nature's Prophet, who will be jungling the whole time, and most likely will be going towards that value Midas.
The battle begins for good and all.
So Arab King facing off against Muel. Good for you to clarify.
Just putting it out there for them.
With me.
Should be interesting. It looks like Nature's Prophet's even gone for the greed build, so gloves of haste, 2 clarities. This is a build you see in public games, not in the competitive setting, so we'll see if it gets punished at all. Muel getting a great creep block ensures that he has the high ground over Arab King. Arab King throws out Curse of the Silence, actually misses, choosing to go for Curse of the Silence at 1 against the Storm Spirit. Not the best pickup, just because Storm Spirit will be dropping Remnant at level 1 anyway, to be able to get CS, and Remnant's a very mana efficient nuke. So would have actually preferred to see him go for Last Word or even Glaives, just so we could harass him from level 1, get that Orborg harass. We see Storm Spirit actually hasn't chosen to skill up any of his abilities yet. He's holding his abilities in case to adjust his build based on what Arab Kim's going for. So he just tanks the level 1 Curse of the Silence. He's got 1 point up in Remnant and 1 point in the Overload, so it's a very standard Storm Spirit build. He has a lot of lane control with the Q as well as the E. The extra 30 magic damage coming out from a level 1 Overload does hurt a fair amount, especially when you consider the fact that Storm Spirit does have very favorable armor, so you can trade hits quite effectively. Over in the top lane, looks like Timbersaw in a 1v2 situation. Timbersaw excels, just because Disruptor can't do anything at all. He's got the reactive armor to tank up any harassment. Looks like he chose to go for Timber Chain at 1. Would have perhaps liked to see him save his skill point and then maybe skill up Welling Death when he recognized he was up against a dual lane and not a tri-lane. Just because Timber's Chain at 1 doesn't actually offer you all too much. It gives you a slight amount of survivability. since you can chain to the tree, but since it can be interrupted by the Luna's Lucent Beam, would have even preferred to see like a reactive armor at 1, just so he could trade more effectively. Darkseer over in the bottom lane, he's going to be a tough nut to crack. Probably would like to see the support players rotate mid, since Dazzle and Sandking, they're not going to be able to kill Dazzle on their own, unless he grossly misplays, just because with the Surge, he could always run himself out of danger. Sandking has a very low initiation range at level 1 and level 2 with his Burrow Strike. It's not till level 3 and 4 that starts to pick up steam. So we see in the mid lane, only 3 CS on the Silencer compared to 10 over on Muel. He is dominating the lane, he's taking a lot of harassment from that Curse of the Silencer, but Silencer's out of mana now, so he can't really capitalize with the last word to really lock him in place. Very interesting to see that he has gone for that max Curse of the Silent build. I'd have thought that he'd choose to max out last word and use that as his lane controlling ability. What are your thoughts on Silencer's build there, Ghoulie?
Oh, I do a fairly similar thing. I mean, it's just that case of having to make sure you have rune control though, otherwise Storm's just going to bottle straight back up.
Could have
My eternal
been a
mana for Remnant to get it off.
Yeah.
I wonder earlier why I didn't just use it. He had as much mana drained from Curse as what he would have just using Remnant. But
that's always true. The level 1 Curse doesn't actually drain all too much mana. Now that it's up to level 2, now you want to start popping Remnant down. Actually, First Blood happening bottom lane, I was just talking about how difficult it is for Darkseer to go down. But apparently some great plays happening in the bottom lane. Did you happen to catch that all, Ghoulie? Oh wow, and we've got Virgil the Turd diving in past the tower. Where's your Wolf Micro? Sandking catches him out with the Burrow Strike. He's now going to take a fall. He's got no mana, no boots. Wolves are scouting him out. Sandking's coming in. Yoda's saying, get the hell away from my little brother. I'm going to chase you down. And Wolfgun's going to get a free kill with the Wolves. Creep actually throwing out a few right clicks. Virgil the Turd going balls deep and getting punished for it. That's going to be a very delayed minus for him. So Recursion already off to a pretty bad start. That Darkseer somehow feeds to a Sandking as well as a Lycanthrope. He must have dived the tower in order for him to have died like that. So you have Surge to ensure that he could get away. Considering how low Wolfgun's HP was, probably went for the tower dive, was caught out by the Sandking. And over in the top lane, Thundercunt throwing out the Welling Death just to harass back the Luna. Since Luna is an agility hero, doesn't do as much damage as he'd like, but still able to chip away to break even. Crash is tied with Storm Spirit in terms of CS. Muel is having a fantastic game. He really is dominating Arab King. He's finally picked up a point up in Glaives, so he's going to be able to use that to be the orb harass the Silencer. The Storm Spirit, sorry. Bit surprised he didn't go for that at 1, considering Silencer has 600 range, Storm Spirit is about 450. As well as the pure damage coming out from him really cuts through Storm Spirit. Enable you control the lane from level 1 instead of relying on Curse of the Silence, which is completely ineffective against Storm Spirits. You have the Remnant drop, which he's going to be dropping to get farm anyway. So even though the Nature's Prophet hasn't been ganked, he feeds himself a kill by teleporting to the bot lane, trying to get a kill over on Wolfcut. Even if he did get that kill, he still would have taken the fall, so there was a suicide mission from the get-go. Wasn't successful in the end. Would still like to see a rotation coming out from both support players over on 2IP. Just to catch out Silencer, who has no defensive capabilities at all. He's got below average movement speed, squishy, low armor. If you catch him out with a Burrow Strike, or even with a Poison Touch, give Muel that space and time to be able to follow up the Electric Vortex. He's going for a very standard Storm Spirit build. 3 points up in Vortex to ensure you get the static Remnant off, and then choosing to max out the Overload. Once you get a point up in his ult, we just see him miss a few CS there.
top.
Action happening, Timbersaw running for his life connect field, didn't latch. Crash might be to run him down though with the Lucent Beam. No, never mind, we've got some jukes coming out. Timber Chain, never mind, interrupted by the Lucent Beam. This is why Luna's an effective carry. And when Virgil the Toad comes up for a few more right clicks, looks like he's going to get the kill.
That's just what Nature's Prophet needed. Catches him back up there.
Definitely, yeah, that enables him to get his Midas. They really need to gank him now since he's about 150 gold away from him. There we go. Riser said they should gank him. Yoda going in with the smoke gank. His smoke just popped. I don't think he'll spot it out though. But with the 2 other heroes from the Dire Trilane hanging around, don't know how effective this will be. Nature's Prophet, his spidey senses are tingling. He backs away. Yoda and Sandking just waddling their way through. He's about 1,500 gold away, 150 gold away from his Midas, so once he picks it up, drastically increases his presence. I think his treants might have just barely scouted him out, although the nighttime vision could have hindered him.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Invisibility room pinged
no
out by the
arms
Silencer.
to
They're going to go
defend
for mid instead. They're saying, alright, you got to live this time, Nature's Prophet. We're going to go kill Arab King. He's out of mana. Playing very defensively, making sure that he doesn't get caught out of position. And yeah, Yoda reveals himself. Illusion from the Storm Spirit, scouting him out, putting the Fear of God into him. And Storm Spirit actually zips in. He's invisible. There's a defensive ping out. While that's happening, Wolfgang the bottom lane, he's already got a 6-minute Vladimir's offering, so he's having an absolutely fantastic start. This means he could trade very favorably in last hits over to the Darkseer, as the Iron Shell is going to harass him as much as it would, just because he's going to regenerate HP every time he right-clicks him. Muel invisible, hanging around. If he actually scouts out Virgil Turd, he can kill him. Never mind, Virgil Turd teleporting, he's got his Midas up now, so 7-minute Midas, but Crash caught out of position, eats the Remnant, eats the Vortex, pops the Silencer, pops his Global Silence, so Thunder can't actually caught way out of position, he might be taking a fall, never mind, just wore off. Shallow Grave keeps him alive, Reginald takes a fall as well, great play, Curse of the Silence over Thundercant, so he drops to that. And Arab King able to sneak a kill and back the hell away. Good play coming out from 2IP, bit unfortunate he wasn't able to catch Nature's Prophet, as he just barely missed him. That was the night vision screwing with you. He's able to pick up a 7-minute Midas. So with that, the greed coming up from Recursion hasn't been punished so far. Treads up on Muel. Sandking's picked up level 6. This is a very high level Sandking, especially for this early on in the game. He's actually almost the same level as Silencer, only just 1 level behind on the tri-lane support Sandking.
And he's almost got his blank turf, he's going straight for it.
Yeah, he's having an absolutely fantastic game. 250 gold off that blink, that gives him a significant amount of ganking presence and teamfight presence. Darkseer, he's just got a soul ring, he's only got 18 CS, he's been completely shut down by Wolfcunt. Especially with the Quelling Blade, the Wolves, he could stick the Wolves on him. Over in the top lane, looks like Sandking has caught out position. Forced to pop his Sandstorm, but this is Sentry Ward dropped. Timber Chain just shy of range, Wolfcunt might be caught out position himself now, he just uses Whirling Death, throws out the Chakram. Shadow Word, Timber Chain, actually he mistimed his Timber Chain, where's the Shallow Grave? Shallow Grave pop, but he's been glimpsed back, misplays coming out from 2IP and they feed 2 kills. Not too sure what happened there. Very unfortunate death for the Sand King, as he was very close to his Blink Dagger. Timbersaw as well, hasn't been all too effective. We saw him mistime the range on his Timber Chain twice, and that's what led to his death.
Good reaction there with the Sentry popping down. If Sandking had stayed in that fight, I think it could have very easily gone the other way.
Definitely. Arab King going for some last word harass over a Muel, using it to silence him, but this is a regeneration up on him, as well as 3 points up on the Overload. Storm Spirit now hurts like hell. If he goes in for a gank attempt on Arab King, who has no mana, actually would be food. Should be able to burst him down the sheer amount of damage he could do. The thing you have to keep in mind with Storm Spirit is you have to be as mana efficient as possible. We see Sand King going right back into the jungle, utilizing his Sandstorm to farm. This is one of the reasons why Sandstorm has been seeing a lot more action recently. It's similar to Crystal Maiden. He can find his own farm just by walking to the jungle and using his Sandstorm. And we saw Yoda stacking a few camps early on in the game. Wolfcunt, he's clearing him out. He's getting a lot of farm. Looks like he's going for the Medallion of Courage, so he wants to go for Roshan as soon as possible. He picked up a smoke as well. Bit unfortunate that he's on the Radiant side, he doesn't have that die side advantage, but while that's happening, Darkseer hanging around, he's throwing out the Ion Shells, 2 points up in Surge, so very solid build
middle
coming up from
tower
him.
is under attack.
Middle tower taking a lot of damage. The issue with Silencer going for the Curse of the Silence build is it does drain a crap ton
The
of mana.
Radiant's bottom tower has seen better days.
Virgil Turd, caught out with the Zip. Actually, didn't attack before throwing out his Vortex, so not as mana efficient as you'd like, but he's able to secure the kill nonetheless.
Radiant's bottom
With
tower
Storm
is
Spirit,
under
when you
attack.
zip, you want to throw out an attack before you pull them, just because you get a free Overload proc that you waste otherwise, and that extra 90 damage could mean the difference between a kill and them getting away. But he's able to bottle up a double damage rune. Nature's Prophet being punished. He's just got boots. Looks like he'll be building towards the Necronomicon, or he could be going Treads. I really don't like Treads on Nature's Prophet, just because it only really works in the mid game. You don't want to upgrade boots at all, unless you're in the offlane position, in which case you want to go for phase boots as soon as possible. Wolfcunt gonna solo up Roshan very quickly. No reaction from Recursion. I don't even think they're aware of this, because they underestimate how quickly both Vladimir is, as well as Medallion of Courage. Darkseer getting free farm over in the bottom lane. Sand King's coming over to ruin
Dire's
his
middle
day.
tower is under attack.
He's picked up his Blink Dagger. 90
Radiant's
gold away
bottom
from his
tower
boots, so
is
Sand
under
King's having an
attack.
absolute
I
ball
feel
of a
sad for
time.
them.
Yoda King Tut hanging around. He's choosing to max out the Shadow Word. Would have liked to see a bit more of an aggressive build coming out from him, but he's been making it work. Last word up on him. Gonna silence him, prevent him from going in with the Grave. He's picked up a point over in Weave at 6. Thundercunt, he has been shot down quite heavily with those 3 deaths, but he's got enough gold now for his Arcane Boots, so he can start going around for ganks. Looks like he's going for the max Timber Chain build. Provides you more consistent DPS, especially in conjunction with the Chakram, just because Timber Chain's cooldown goes down and it's always pure
That's not
damage.
good for the Radiant.
But maxing out the Whirling Death build provides you with a lot more burst power. So it'll be
Dire's
interesting to see
bottom
how well
tower is under
Timbersaw
attack.
is able to pull off his combination. I really like the Medallion pickup on Lycanthrope, as it gives you a significant amount of DPS. You have your Shapeshift to be able to create damage. Instant blink out from Sandking. He's Ion Shelled up, so he can't stay too close to his team. He goes in for a hug on Wolfcunt. Wolfcunt backs away. Aegis the Immortal up on him.
The Radiant should really do something about that middle tower.
And he's just got Naked Boots, so it'll be interesting to see if he chooses to upgrade them or goes towards the Necro 3. Sandking caught way out of position, but no one actually sees him right now. He's got enough mana for his ultimate, but not for both his ultimate and his epicenter. He's got a few charges in the magic stick though. But he could channel his ult, blink in, and then if he gets a magic stick charge, pop it and use it for the burrow strike.
Middle tower is under attack.
Very patient plays coming out from him. Almost gets spotted out by Nature's Prophet. Fergulator just barely missing him. Sandking's going to be playing carefully. Constantly hiding in the tree. Storm Spirit takes the top, the middle tower while it's happening. Wolfcunt getting called out, but he has Aegis the Immortal. Global Silence dropped just to prevent him from using the Shallow Grave. Yoda's popped called out of position. Shallow Graves himself. Zip Zappin. Sandking's coming in. Where's that Burrow Strike? Burrow Strike catches out too. Great Burrow Strike from him. Wolfcunt's back in action with that Aegis the Immortal. With that Shapeshift, he right clicks people down. That's the power of the Medallion of Courage on Lycanthrope. It's a free Desolator before you even have Desolator. Just because you get all the damage and attack speed from your abilities. Thoughts on that engagement, Ghoulie?
Oh, I mean, I was about to say Horsemen knew exactly what they're doing, but 2IP knew exactly what they're doing there.
The Dire's bottom tower doesn't even have arms. Dire structures are fortified, just like me.
Yeah, I think they're capitalising on a little bit of Rex weakness.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Run, little bottom
You notice some great plays coming out from Yoda. He was duking the Luna through the trees, as you have to keep in mind Eclipse only works if you have line of sight to them. Red's now going to take a fall. That Medallion of Courage does so much work, especially against Disruptor with such low armor. Darkseer eats the Chakram to the face. Lucent being thrown out on Muel. Muel's hanging around. The wall splitting the fight, catches him out with the Vortex. He takes a fall. Sandking goes in for a Burrow Strike, catches out Crash. Crash takes a fall to Chakram. Silence is able to get a kill over on Wolfcunt the back end, but Yoda should be able to finish off Fergulator. Never mind, Thundercart might be taking a fall if he's not too careful. Arrow King's doing a lot of damage to Coast of Silence. Sandking comes in with a very cheeky Burrow Strike, gets a kill, and they're able to wipe Recursion in exchange for just losing Wolfcunt. Great engagement from them. You saw Sandking was able to get off those 2-3-man Burrow Strikes. Didn't even have to use his Epicenter to win that fight. That's the power of Sandking's Epicenter, Burrow Strike, sorry, especially if he gets an early blink. And 2IP in a very commanding lead.
Darkseer's build here at the moment. He's gone for his wall without a level and vacuum.
Yeah, I don't know what. I guess he picked up a point in that fight just to try to split the fight up, and it did split the fight. But Darkseer's wall only lasts for 15 seconds at level 1. That's one of the reasons why you completely skip your wall until level 10, level 11, because then you can pick it up, get 2 points in it as soon as possible. Looks like Lycanthrope's going for a Cranium Bashes, so he's going for a much more right-clicking Lycan build. There are two ways to build Lycanthrope. You could go for the Necro 3, which is the Deathball push build, and that gives you an extreme amount of DPS as Feral Impulse and Howl propagate over to your minions. And so you actually deal more damage with your minions than you do yourself. He's going for the Basher build, so he's relying on Lycan himself being the right clicker. This is a much more old school build, I guess, with the Necro 3 being buffed significantly. You don't really see that build anymore, but I guess Wolfcunt's kicking it old school. Called out position now with the Static Storm as well as Connect Field. He might be taking a fall. Silence up the last word. He's going to take a fall, but he might be able to kill Reginald before he does. He actually kills Reginald right before he takes a fall. Tower's going to get that CS. That's the power of the Medallion of Courage. He just 3-shot the Disruptor. Still a favorable trade over for Recursion, and it looks like Storm Spirit actually took a fall with Nature's Prophet being able to finish him off. Arab King called out. Yeah, I was thinking that must have been it. Thundercart silenced up, very low mana. They should be backing out right now. Global Silence has been popped, so Sandking could be using his ultimate provide covering fire to continue the chase. Recursion choosing wisely to back away. They don't want to chase this with the Sandking with his ultimate up, as well as Storm Spirit has just respawned. Storm Spirit going for the Awkward and Malevolence. He's been having a great game. A lot of CS, a lot of net worth on him. He'll be picking up his Awkward and Malevolence very quickly.
Absolutely fantastic pick up. He's obviously realised Luna's skipping BKB at the moment. Just gone straight for the Morbid Mask.
Yeah, Luna going for treads into Helmet Dominator. Very greedy build from her. It's going to be punished, especially when you consider the fact that the Nature's Prophet jungled. So the creep camps weren't stacked up for her. So she can't really capitalize on that. Greedy build coming out from Recursion, being punished by the early aggression from 2IP. Muel hanging around. Howl's been popped, providing a lot more damage. Reginald pops a kinetic field, very poor kinetic field. Walls drop, it's level 1. Sandking Epicenter catches out Crash, instantly pops him. Timber Chain misses once again, but it's not even needed. Darkseer's going to take a fall. While that's happening in the bottom lane, Nature's Prophet pushing down to the tier 1 in the bottom lane, but he's going to lose his tier 1 as well as 3 heroes on his team. Not the best trade for him. Sandking's instantly teleporting over to the bottom lane to defend. Eats a Curse of the Silence to the face. He's got to point up in Caustic Finale so he can. Oh, he misses with the Blind Barrow Strike, but unfortunate for him. Nature's Prophet's going to TP out. But with the points up in the Sandstorm as well as the Caustic Finale, Sandking can defend pushes very effectively.
Dark light. No.
It looks like the Tattoo Tower is going to take a few cheeky right clicks with the Wolves hanging around. Just going to take a quick golden EXP check. 7,500 EXP in favor of 2 IP and about 6,000 gold. So they're in a very commanding lead in the game so far. Orchid and Malevolence picked up pre-20 minutes. Storm Spirit's about to start bowling out of control. What do you think Recursion could do right now to start turning the game around, Ghoulie?
Oh, I think Darkseer's got to step up a little bit. I think he's got to get into the team fights. He needs to get level 10 just so he can at least get one level in vacuum. He's been holding back his iron shells a bit too much.
Yeah.
You know, I think they'll hold off the blink on SK, and they've just got to make sure that they have been fighting at one point. The last fight on the minimap, 2 IP was spread all around here.
Yep.
And Disruptor's old, you can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
So I think they've just got to force them into a corner and hope for the best. With Silence and Luna's ulti, they can do a hell of a lot of damage.
That's true. You have to keep in mind as well, the reason why I don't like Darkseer as an offlane hero, especially with the recent patch, is just because you need so many levels to be effective. You want your maxed out Iron Shell, you also want maxed out Vacuum, and Darkseer has chosen to completely forego Vacuum for maxing out Surge. Very inefficient build, it provides you no team fight. Especially when you're facing, you have such a strong team fight set up yourself and you're up against such a strong early to mid game lineup, you want to have a maxed out Vacuum when engagements start happening. Since 1 or 2 points in Vacuum isn't going to cut it, it's a very ineffective spell until you get all 4 points up in it. Same with Wall, you need 2 points up in Wall before it's really effective. So Darkseer needs way too much EXP to be effective as an offlaner. Whereas the Timbersaw, the instant he hits level 7, he could kill anyone that he catches on his own. He's at level 10 now, almost has his Soul Booster up, so he's having a very good time. Recovering from his early deaths. I don't like how he's choosing to max out reactive armor over the Whirling Death, but looks like Crash is going to be called out with the Orchid and Malevolence. Vortex zipping him back, providing him those overload procs. One more right click, never mind. Storm Spirit decides to back off, so he's showing off his Orchid and Malevolence as well as the Haste Rune. Crash has been driven out of the lane though, so he's going to run all the way back to base if he wants to heal up. Chose to complete the Helmet Dominator. So, would like to see a ward placed on the Ancients. Ancients haven't been stacked at all. Roshan respawns in 2 minutes, so Wolfcon will be able to clear that up very quickly. With that Cranium Basher build, I don't know what he'll be building towards. He still could choose to go for a Necrobook.
I'd be getting up my treads if I was him. You know,
yeah.
The attack speed with the Skull Basher.
Since he went for the Skull Basher, yeah. If he went for the Necrobook, I'd say to stick with Naked Boots then, since your minions do more damage than you do, but since he's gone for where he's got the Cranium Basher, so he's the primary DPS instead of the minions, going for the Treads is a pretty good pickup. Looks like he's going for Boots of Travel. So, Lycanthrope going for a very unconventional build, Boots of Travel as well as the Cranium Basher.
Radiant's top
very
tower
strange build coming
You
up.
have the luxury of being able to teleport to your wolves as well, though.
Yeah, that's true. So maybe he's going for some kind of global ganking strategy, since the wolves are invisible.
Radiant's top
You
tower
scout
is
around with
under
your
attack.
wolves. If you catch a hero on their own, teleport to it, pop your shapeshift, use your medallion, start
Dire's
beating
middle
them
tower
down.
is under attack.
Nature's Prophet, going for a tower push over the
Radiant's
top lane.
top
He's
tower
going for
is
an Orchid
under
Malevolence,
attack.
and he actually has it finished up. And like, he's just got enough to finish it right now. So he's going to use that to counteract the Storm
Radiant's top
Spirit.
tower has fallen.
Reginald
Not so
actually called out with
radiant
the
anymore.
Dazzle Poison Touch. Thundercunt, bit out of position, he's backing away. Glimpses back Wolfcunt, but Wolfcunt doesn't really care. He's got Shapeshift, so he can use that to run away. Shadow Wave keeps him alive. Storm Spirit comes in from the back end. Epicenter from Sandking, only catches out 2. He takes a 4 with the Eclipse, with the Global Suns preventing him from sandstorming himself to safety. Very messy fight. Yoda's actually going to TP out. Great place from him. Never mind, the Lucent Beam was off cooldown. He's able to use it to interrupt it. But he does draw the fire from the rest of his team, giving Thundercunt time to walk away.
Flesh grows whole.
So it looks like Storm Spirit TP top, got a free kill over the Nature's Prophet. Nature's Prophet is punished by Storm Spirit just because he can zip through you, just teleport to whatever lane you're pushing, zip up to you, pull you, and just start raining hell. Especially with the fact that he has his Orchid and Nature's Prophet doesn't. Since Nature's Prophet chose to go for the Orchid, he can choose to go toe-to-toe against the Storm Spirit, but would have liked to see him go for perhaps a Sheep Stick instead, just because he could use it to lock Storm Spirit down. Once Storm Spirit picks up his BKB, which he almost has, Orchid is completely useless against him. You can use it against the Timbersaw or against the Sandking, which are also valid targets. But Timbersaw could go towards the Yule Scepter later on to purge off the silence from the Orchid. And if you're silencing the Sandking, That means that the game's already lost just because he's going to blink and initiate with his ultimate and Burrow Strike. So silencing him after that point's too little damage done. Silencing the Dazzle can be quite effective, so it prevents him from using the Shallow Grave, but he almost has his mechanism, so Yoda's been doing pretty well. And the Greed coming up from Recursion, continuing unabated. Arab King, he looks like he's going for Orchid and Malevolence as well. I don't know why they keep building Orchids. Build 4-staffs. You needed to help juke out the Lycanthrope. You needed to help position squishy heroes such as the Silencer. Orchid and Malevolence isn't building more of them is going to be all too effective, especially once they start picking up BKBs. As Sandking, with the great start he's been having, wouldn't be surprised if he picks up a BKB himself. Relying on these silences instead of any other forms of hard CC or any other utility items can prove to be the downfall. Or he could be going for a Refresher Orb, which also is actually a pretty good pickup on the silencer. Just because if you go for the Aghanim Scepter upgrade as well, you're providing the Curse of the Silence debuff to the enemy team that actually can do about the same amount of damage over time as the Thunder God's Wrath. And we've got a Roshan, solo Roshan Tab from Wolfcut. Medallion of Courage, Wolves, the Basher doing a lot of work. Muel's hanging around to bodyguard him just in case he needs help. He's going to bottle up a Haste Rune. And he's about 1.1k away from his BKB. King Tut being scouted out as well as Sandking. So we've got Recursion diverging in, grouping up to perhaps try to pick him off. Sandking places a ward, but I think that might have been spotted. Dire have a very defensive ward placed here.
Have carved their names in history. Roshan has fallen. Zap!
Silence up on Disruptor. Muel zips, and he's going to get a free kill over on him. Disruptor can't do anything when being silenced up. Goes in on Crash as well. Crash is forced to blow his Eclipse. Actually, Global Silence kills off Muel. Great reaction coming up from Arab King. King Tut called out position. Yoda takes a fall. Wolfcant's diving in. He's going to be able to kill Crash. He has the edges to the Immortal, so he doesn't really care if he dies. He just wants to do as much damage as he can. Sandking comes with the Epicenter, as well as the Blink. Gets a free kill over on Arab King. Only uses a 1, however, but he's able to safeguard his carry. Very messy fight for both teams. They're forced to pop Aegis, but Bloodseeker picks up... Timbersaw picks up his Bloodstone. And Wolfcut didn't take it. He's still alive. Looks like he's going for the Necro Book now. So he just had a casual Cranium Basher. Very surprising.
Good for the Radiant.
If he had Necro 3 that fight, it could have gone in the complete other direction. Just because you have to keep in mind, Eclipse randomly hits targets. So if Luna without a BKB actually kills Necro Book minion, she's eating a lot of pure damage to the face. Also makes it less likely for it to hit a hero. Virgil Turd running for his life. Sandking blinks up. He's going to kill off his creeps and take out a stack. So he says thank you for the gold. Just going to do a quick golden EXP check. 7,500 EXP in favor of 2 IP, and same with gold. So they're in a very good control of the map right now. They have more towers than Recursion do. They've also taken Roshan twice, so the next Roshan will give them Aegis, as well as Cheese. So that means they can start grouping up for these pushes. Would have perhaps liked to see Necro 3 up on Lycan, since he would have had Necro 3 up by now. If he didn't go for the Boots of Travel, and if he didn't go for the Cranium Basher, that means they could have taken all the Tier 2s and actually started pressuring the Tier 3s. As one of the reasons why Lycanthrope's such a dangerous carry is he is able to end the game in the first 20 minutes of the game. He can take all your towers, wipe you in fights, and then just strip away your Tier 1 to your Tier 2s and start breaking down your Tier 3. If you lose a fight against the Lycanthrope and the mid game, you lose a rack, so there's no way you'll be able to come back in time to be able to prevent him. So Necrobook 1 picked up on him. With the Boots of Travel, it does give him a lot of split pushing power, since he could use his wolves to scout around and teleport to them, makes him act as a pseudo Nature's Prophet. Dazzle, I think he's picked up his mechanism. Yeah, he's got enough money for that. But yeah, any thoughts on the state of the game so far, Ghoulie?
I think it's going to be the next 5 minutes are going to decide it, as you probably saw from the Garden experience. You know, this will stop the bleeding in the past 10 minutes.
Looks like Nature's Prophet might actually get called out. Storm Spirit
farmed up will be very dangerous.
That's true. Storm Spirit zips in, silences him. He can turn around and silence him as well. But that's all he can really... He's actually forced to use the TP scroll. He might actually be able to make it out. Yeah, that silence actually saved his life. Muel was unable to hold him in place with the Vortex. Didn't realize that Nature's Prophet had an Orchid and Malevolence. He'll know to zip in and Vortex him before the next time. So he should be able to DPS him down before it can silence him. Looks like Nature's Prophet might actually be going for a Desolator. So he's starting with the Mithril Hammer. So he wants to transition to that DPS role. Very, very greedy builds coming out from Recursion. Luna almost has her BKB. That's going to be a significant pickup for her, as Arab King can provide the silence, and then once the silence wears off, you pop your BKB. That makes you as effectively invincible against the boys that are from tier 2 IP, although Lycanthrope could probably just lock her in place with the Cranium Basher and beat her down with his Necrobook minions. He might be called out of position right now. Silence up the last word. Pops Howl to ensure he doesn't get disarmed. But Yoda got his back, ensuring that he can throw out the Shallow Grave if he needs to. Muel has his BKB now, he zips in, catches out the Darkseer, Blink as well as the Burrow Strike, seals the deal, and Darkseer takes a fall once again. Has not been effective at all this game. He's finally finished the mech for his team, so he's got that going for him. He's got 1 point up in the vacuum now, 2 points up in wall. But if 2IP are able to take tier 2s and perhaps start pressuring tier 3s before he gets the 4 points up in the vacuum, Darkseer Wolves combination might not even be all that effective this game. Necrobook 2 picked up by Lycanthrope. He's almost got 3. And he takes a free tier 2 tower in the top lane. Nature's Prophet split pushing over the bottom lane. The creep wave is already heavily in their favor. Yeah, he's going for the Desolator, so greed build coming up from him. He's going to regret that once he realizes Muel has a BKB, so he doesn't give a damn about the global silence or the silence from the Orchid of Malevolence. It's the issue with Orchid of Malevolence. It does get completely counteracted by BKB or by a Manta Style. So it's very easy. It's a timing specific item. If you pick it up early, you have to make great use of it in the early stages of the game. Otherwise, it becomes pretty ineffective the later the game draws out. For Storm Spirit, Orchid of Malevolence is always a great pickup just because it gives him the mana regeneration he needs. Since Storm Spirit's ultimate is based on a percentage of your mana pool, the more mana regeneration you have, the more times you can use your ultimate, as opposed to the actual mana pool itself. Looks like in the bottom lane. Like it's going for a bit more creeps. He's going to have his Necrobook 3 up. BKB picked up by Storm Spirit. Arab King farming Ancients. He's got to be a bit careful. They could decide just to zip in. Would like to see some Ancient stacking happening from Luna, just because he does have a Helmet of Dominator. Arab King called out with a great Blink Burrow Strike. That Shadow Wave almost kills him instantly. Zips in, catches out Disruptor. Disruptor takes a fall. That's a 2 for nothing. Zips back in, pops his BKB, catches out the Darkseer. He's actually out of mana though, but Burrow Strike from the Sandking with that Blink dagger catches him out, and that Poison Touch finishes him off. 3 for none. That's actually a line of racks that could be going in favor for 2 IP. They've got Necro 3 up on the Lycanthrope. Wall was wasted, wasn't effective at all. Veil of Discord picked up by the Sandking. He hasn't popped his Necro yet. He's got his Wolves, actually catches out Crash, pops the Epicenter, forces him to blow his BKB. He's going to kill him through the BKB duration anyway. Destroys the majority of the damage. That's a lane of racks for 2 IP, as they're able to capitalize on that Deathball coming out from the Lycanthrope, who has Necro 3, Necro 2 up on them right now. Lane of Rex, there could even be 2 lanes of Rex, since they can't fight without the Luna anyway. They can't fight without the Darkseer wall, and they recognize this. They're going for 2 lanes of Rex. This is the issue with a Lycanthrope. You make one mistake and he takes your entire base. He's such an effective pushing hero. And this actually could be game. Ghoulie, thoughts on this?
Dire's middle tower now belongs to the Aegis.
Oh, unless they have a big team fight here, I would...
Static Storm's drop. Wolfcut might be taking a fall. Never mind. Shallow Grave keeps him alive. Arab King called out position. He eats the Welling Death to the face and dies to the Orchid Burn. Another lane of Rax 2. 1-man Burrow Strike coming out from the Sandking. Darkseer comes in, stunned up by a lucky first hit. Bash takes a fall to Muel. And GG called 29 minutes and 26 seconds in. 2IP take a very convincing Game 1 victory against Recursion.
Tower is under attack. About time. Radiant victory.
And that looks like it. Any final thoughts on the game, Ghoulie?
I think Sandking was a big thing there, and so was Storm Spirit. And let's see the initiation coming out, and I think it won the game for them.
Yeah, definitely. Silencer was completely dominated by Muel, so Storm Spirit and Sandking MVPs for 2IP. So we're just going to take a quick break. I think Wolf can't say you need to take a piss, so we'll be back in about 4 or 5 minutes for game number 2. Ghoulie, do you still want to co-cast with me for game number 2, or you think you're done for today?
Oh, I might be done for today.
Alright, no worries
Sit
then.
back and watch.
So we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Yep.